And now that it's a function on Twitter and Instagram, there's a couple people that I have muted.
Good.
Yeah. Blake Lively.
You can mute people on Instagram too?
Yeah, it's a new feature.
Ryan Reynolds just took the stand and systematically dismantled Blake Lively's entire public persona. His testimony didn't just poke holes in her story.
Anna, what does it mean to be working with Blake again?
Oh, we're talking about you all.
And Anna's just an egomaniac, as you can see. So,
Yeah.
I'm I learned a lot from her.
Yeah.
It presented a version of events where Blake isn't a victim, but the architect of a calculated campaign to save her own image. The fallout was immediate and brutal, effectively ending the carefully curated life she presented to the world. Before we dive into how this all unraveled, hit that like button and subscribe to the channel if you're into raw deep dives like this. We break down the biggest entertainment stories with no fluff, just straight up facts, receipts, and a touch of chaos. And trust me, you're gonna want to see how this one plays out.
Anna, what does it mean to be working with Blake again?
Oh, we're talking about you all day.
Oh, you know.
Not want to be asked any more questions like that.
How does it feel like the movie's being impacted kind of by everything happening around going on in the world?
Why, what happened? I did ayahuasca and the last year of my life is just gone, but I've heard the movie's amazing.
Wait, thank you.
I just can't imagine how uncomfortable tonight has been trying to like dodge all of these questions and like pretend like nothing is wrong.
Which I think is like not fair, right?
Yeah, you're such a bad daughter.
Terrible daughter. See, this is an entire therapy session.
That's good. Get it out.
A man testifying against his own wife is a spectacle, but Reynolds was left with little choice.
It shows Anna Kendrick isn't giving Blake Lively any public support on the Justin Baldoni case, and also at the same time her body language in multiple interviews when asked doesn't seem to be that friendly towards Blake Lively. There's also rumors that Anna Kendrick is pissed because Amazon wouldn't release this movie in theaters because of fears over Blake Lively's reputation.
The level of cringe in this video made Blake Lively co-star shrink almost to below the floor.
So what happens in the third one? No, I'm joking. Korean Rome, honestly. So Paul, we really wanted to make this second movie.
His career was on the line with major film projects and contracts vanishing as Blake's legal battle spiraled. She positioned herself as the wronged party.
That morning.
And Anna's just an egomaniac, as you can see.
But in doing so became one of the most polarizing figures online.
Anna Kendrick had issues working with Blake Lively years ago, and even though they did a sequel together, it looks like those issues are still there because now she's visibly shunning her. And
This wasn't just a marital dispute playing out in public. It was a strategic move by Reynolds to salvage what was left of his professional life. The stage for this drama was the pre-trial hearings for Blake Lively's misconduct case, a proceeding that had been moving along without much fanfare until one name was added to the witness list.
We're not best buddies at all moments, but like do we do well together on screen? And there's some people that like we're best buddies and then on screen it's like
It was a name nobody saw coming. The case had been a slow burn of legal maneuvers. Subpoenas were issued and witnesses were quietly brought in. Taylor Swift was called but never appeared.
They respect you.
A lot of talking.
Gotta give her a pep talk. I'm like, we're amazing. We're powerful. I'm the reason she gets out of bed.
Former assistants gave testimony over video calls, and a crew member from a past project spoke about Blake's unpredictable behavior. It was all background noise until the court officially summoned Ryan Reynolds. Behind the scenes, Blake's situation was becoming desperate, with her legal team struggling to keep up. Then on June 1st, the court docket was updated, compelling Ryan Reynolds to testify under Rule 45. This wasn't a voluntary appearance. He had been legally forced to show up. The news exploded online. His press tour for Marvel was abruptly halted, and Disney sent a quiet memo indicating that Deadpool 3 was facing production adjustments. This was a clear signal that Reynolds was about to share information that the family-friendly studio wanted no part of.
Lots of women are calling bullshit on Blake Lively. Like, that's just what you see. And look, if you're Blake Lively and you get a text message of this guy Jed saying, "We are crushing it on Reddit," then yeah, I can understand that paranoia, but that's not enough to win a lawsuit, right? They're gonna have to provide that proof.
How about your post should be, "I'm sorry. I believed Blake like everyone else when the civil complaint was filed in California," and then 2 days later, the New York Times writes this article. "Read this New York Times thing I told everyone. It's horrible. It's terrible." Why doesn't anyone just say, "I made a mistake"? I think we live in a world, we're out of cancel culture now. I think. But we live in a world where if you say you're sorry, I just believe that people forgive you and you'll be okay.
Justin Baldoni's attorney, power attorney Brian Friedman, is saying. Blake is abusing the legal system, slams her motion to dismiss the suit. They're firing back at her attempt to cut herself out of the ongoing legal drama surrounding the film It Ends With Us. Brian Friedman, power attorney, tells TMZ Miss Lively's recent motion to dismiss herself from the self-concocted disaster she initiated is one of the most abhorrent examples of abusing our legal systems. Friedman says stringent rules are put into place to protect the innocent and allow individuals to rightfully defend themselves, while noting laws are not meant to be twisted and curated by privileged elites to fit their own personal agenda. TMZ broke the story that Blake filed her motion to dismiss, saying Baldoni violated the law by filing his own lawsuit in the purpose of revenge. Blake says Baldoni filed his defamation suit against her husband, and everyone else after she filed his. And of course, when she filed her lawsuit onto him, obviously he's going to take a hit from that career-wise. So his response is like, you're defaming me by doing that. And she's saying, well, you can't even respond.
He was about to reveal the unfiltered truth, live and under oath, and there was nothing anyone could do to stop it. Once sworn in, Ryan Reynolds was direct and clinical. He confirmed a significant marital conflict occurred in November 2023. The fight started after he discovered messages between Blake and actor Justin Baldoni that he described as being far from professional.
Blake Lively is facing yet more drama, this time with her co-star Anna Kendrick, which she's already done before, but of course is facing again. We knew before that there was some bad blood. So now I guess just is this a new thing actually, or is this just the resurfacing of the previous feud that's now everyone's talking about? I believe this wholeheartedly, Kim, judging by all the things she made Justin, all the hoops and things she took over that we see through text message. I can only imagine what Blake's team, her lawyers, her attorneys are now all using because of court things. Blake Lively is facing yet more drama, this time with her co-star Anna Kendrick, which she's already done before, but of course is facing again.
I think it will be interesting to see the tone that they take with promo here, how much we do see of Blake Lively through this process. I mean, we looked at that post the other night where they left the comments open showing the poster for Another Simple Favor. To stay somewhat neutral, I do have some compassion for her in that regard, but at the same time, this is a problem that is a problem now based on her prior interviews. You know, how much we see of Anna. Will it be very Anna heavy and not as Blake heavy? I don't know. I guess we will see in time.
They film it on their cameras because they're bringing you in. And if you do something that they don't want, they don't give you the footage. They keep the footage.
According to the court records of his testimony, Blake had told Baldoni he was emotionally attentive and made her feel understood in a way that Ryan didn't. Reynolds explained to the court that this discovery marked the beginning of her downward spiral. Her primary concern wasn't about being hurt or betrayed. It was about her image. She was terrified that people would find out she had been texting another man late at night.
What does it mean to be back with Anna?
Oh, it's coming fast. I'm so happy. Like,
what does it mean to be working with Blake again?
We've been talking about you all day.
Oh my god, I'm
Come on! Get it in selfie mode! Be prepared!
What does our character know versus what are they letting on like they know? But are they pretending like they know in order to get confirmation, but they don't actually know and they're finding out in that moment?
Reynolds was careful not to call her a liar directly. Instead, he laid out a devastating timeline, stating that her accusations against Baldoni only came after she feared their texts would be exposed. This detail completely changed the context of her claims. Blake's lawyers immediately tried to object, but the judge overruled them, making it clear that her husband's account was now part of the official record. The courtroom atmosphere grew colder as Reynolds continued.
They keep the cards or they edit it out and give you what they want. They could control this environment and put them together. What's going to be telling, Kim, is are they seated together? Are they seated separately? Do they address any of this drama? I imagine neither of them will.
How quickly do you...
Don't touch me.
How quickly do you know?
Now,
he testified that Blake had explicitly told him, "If I don't frame this right, I lose the brand, the podcast deal, and my seat at the table." This statement now entered into evidence that suggested her actions were not driven by trauma, but by a cold, calculated business decision.
Brian Friedman, power attorney, tells TMZ Miss Lively's recent motion to dismiss herself from the self-concocted disaster she initiated is one of the most abhorrent examples of abusing our legal systems. What happened was, and again, everyone's doing this. No one wants to be in this trial, of course. Blake Lively's publicist asked to be removed from lawsuit, defends actress against Justin Baldoni's claims. I'm going to get into what Justin Baldoni's lawyer had to say and what Blake's team is saying, because every day there's more to the drama, and I'm going to get into all of this happening next. So we have Blake Lively accusing Justin Baldoni of retaliating with his lawsuit on her, and then we have Justin Baldoni's lawyer saying Blake is abusing the system. To be quite honest, everyone I meet's Team Blake. I mean, other than Taylor Lorenz. Everyone's Team Justin Baldoni. I got that wrong. Everyone's Team Justin Baldoni. The Wayfair Party's vengeful and rambling lawsuit against Blake Lively is a profound abuse of the legal process that has no place in federal court. The law prohibits weaponizing defamation lawsuits like this one to retaliate against individuals who have filed legal claims or have publicly spoken out about harassment and retaliation. The right to seek legal redress and the right of the press to report on it are sacred principles that are protected by multiple privileges, including the litigation and fair report privileges, which are absolute. So their argument is, you're not allowed to sue us back because we filed this harassment suit. I mean, it's like punching someone and then they don't get a chance to return the blow. So here's what Justin Baldoni's power attorney, Brian Friedman, is saying, right? Because she's arguing in her motion to dismiss, hey, I filed a harassment complaint against Baldoni. He cannot sue me in retaliation. If Justin Baldoni can prove that she filed that claim for some malicious intent, then maybe he'll have a shot at it. But some people are saying, hey, she could get off on some sort of technicality here.
What had started as a claim of misconduct was now being unraveled by her own husband in front of legal reporters. Reynolds described how Blake dismissed his anger over the texts, calling them harmless industry banter. But what truly bothered him, he explained, was her sudden and intense obsession with how the situation would look if the messages ever became public. It was then, he claimed, that she first brought up the idea of flipping the entire story. She allegedly suggested that if things got out of hand, she could go public with her own version first, shaping the narrative before Baldoni even had a chance to respond. Reynolds said he didn't think she would actually do it, believing it was just a desperate attempt to protect her career. The question of why a husband would publicly expose his wife was answered by the devastating professional fallout he was experiencing. Since Blake's case started, Ryan Reynolds' career has been in a state of free fall.
Because Anna Kendrick is pretty honest herself. And that felt like a complete, I'm not going to say anything mean, but I'm going to do it in a sarcastic way like you do to me all the time, and then I'll play like it's a laugh. When they do these junkets, they can set rules, no, because they can hold the cards. Lewis and I have experienced this. When you do a junket, is what's called, these interviews for the movies, they bring in journalists, and they'll say, you can't talk about this, you can't talk about that.
And she'll be getting private coaching from an expert on how to handle any questions that could be thrown at her.
The first major blow came from Disney. The moment his name was linked to the misconduct lawsuit, the studio put all promotional activities for Deadpool and Wolverine on indefinite hold. Executives cited ongoing domestic complications, a corporate way of saying the scandal was toxic for their brand. Then came the financial hit. A new $18 million deal Reynolds had with Apple TV Plus for a comedy drama series was quietly canceled. The show was already greenlit and in casting, but an executive told industry reporters that anything associated with the family was now too hot to touch. The damage wasn't just about money, it was about the destruction of the brand Reynolds had spent 15 years carefully building, from his business ventures to his public persona as one of Hollywood's most likable stars. For a time, Ryan remained silent, hoping the scandal would remain contained. He was under intense pressure from Disney and his own team to distance himself from Blake, but he resisted. He told executives he believed in letting people handle their personal matters privately. Meanwhile, Blake was allegedly spiraling as her high-profile friends began to abandon her. Taylor Swift stopped answering her texts, and other A-list friends quietly unfollowed her on social media. According to Ryan's testimony, Blake's public displays of distress were a performance. He claimed she was faking panic attacks for interviews and even tipping off photographers to catch her crying in public to weaponize the narrative. He was disgusted but continued to protect her until one thing changed everything. The final straw came when a media outlet published photos of their daughters being followed outside of their school. A photographer had reportedly even approached a teacher to ask for their class schedules. That was the moment Ryan snapped. He no longer cared about PR or his career. His only focus was getting his children out of the line of fire. The next day, he agreed to testify. After Reynolds left the witness stand, the courtroom was left in a stunned silence. In the front row, Blake Lively completely unraveled. She was seen trembling before she broke down, sobbing into her sleeve. Reporters near the front heard her mutter, "He was supposed to protect me," over and over. Her grief quickly turned to anger. She slammed a folder on the table, scattering papers across the floor, and pointed at her lawyer, demanding, "Fix this." Her legal team tried to regain control by filing a motion to have Reynolds' testimony struck from the record, arguing it was emotionally biased. The judge swiftly denied the motion, stating his testimony was relevant and consistent with the evidence. The professional fallout accelerated. Blake's PR firm, Jones Works, filed for dissolution, citing reputational collapse directly tied to the case. The woman who had built Blake's image was now dismantling her own company to escape the damage. The dominoes were falling fast, and it seemed nothing could stop them. The end was already in motion. While Ryan Reynolds has not filed for divorce, Inside has confirmed his legal team is drafting asset separation agreements, the first step in a structured uncoupling. Their joint production company is undergoing a full financial audit, and sponsorship deals have been dissolved. Blake's lawyers are now reportedly exploring a settlement to avoid a full jury trial, fearing that more damaging evidence could surface. Public opinion has already turned against her, and a televised trial would be a catastrophe. To make matters worse, 2 other actresses have now come forward, claiming Blake used similar manipulation tactics on their film sets. Justin Baldoni's legal team is preparing to use these accounts as evidence of a pattern of behavior. The industry has taken notice. Agencies are distancing themselves, and brands are quietly removing her from promotional materials. This is no longer just another celebrity scandal. It ended the moment her own husband took the stand and exposed the story behind the story. Her professional survival is no longer in the hands of a judge, but in the hands of an industry that has already decided her fate.